Where we hanging out and what we doing, we can't really disclose.
For years, internet sleuths have floated theories hinting that Justin Bieber's early connection with Diddy during his baby era seemed suspicious. Yet, the Biebers have never publicly addressed it, maybe because Justin was too afraid to speak out against the powerful and mysterious Diddy.
And he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
Now that Diddy's case is exploding in the media, Justin has finally come forward, armed with receipts that hint at the deep childhood trauma he's been carrying in silence all these years.
It was hard for me being that young.
Pick your jaws back up off the floor, besties. We're just getting started. Before the timeline was dripping in problematic vibes and before cancel culture came for Diddy's entire career, a 15-year-old Justin Bieber was stepping into his main character origin story. The Bibs was literally that guy, discovered at just 14 by talent manager Scooter Braun, but we'll spill that tea another day. He was signed by Usher, yes, that Usher, whose story is also full of messy layers, and transformed from a YouTube cover boy to a global pop phenomenon faster than you can say parasocial relationship. Through Usher, Justin crossed paths with none other than Sean Diddy Combs, the music mogul behind Bad Boy Records, who at the time was in his full-blown god tier, clout era. Their relationship kicked off around 2009, when Justin was still fresh in the industry, and Diddy was already a powerful figure commanding serious influence. At first glance, the receipts from their early interactions gave typical music industry, mentor-mentee energy, like on October 14, 2009, when Baby Bibs was deep in his Notice Me Senpai era. He reached out to Diddy on Twitter, back when it was still called Twitter, posting, "Have a song I produced for it? I am Diddy. Everyone tell him he needs two. Let me do something for his album that would be crazy, get at me, Diddy. Ha ha, it's giving vintage internet thirst, a moment soaked in 2009 nostalgia. Bieber was clearly a fan just hoping to collab with one of his idols in the industry. Harmless, right? Well, buckle up, because then came the motherlode of all questionable content, a YouTube video posted to Bieber's own channel in November 2009 titled Justin Bieber's 48 HRS with Diddy. In it, a 15-year-old Bieber is seen hanging out with Diddy, who describes their time together as, quote, a 15-year-old's dream. But the real yikes moment, the one that sent TikTok conspiracy theorists into a full-blown spiral, was when Diddy said, "Where are we hanging out and what we're doing? We can't really disclose, but, it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream." Yeah, that's the kind of sus comment that gets torn apart in 45-minute YouTube exposés and stitched into a million TikToks. And now, with Diddy's legal drama blowing up, people are going back, connecting dots, and asking questions that maybe should have been asked a long time ago.
They're having the times of their lives, like you know, where we hanging out and what we doing, we can't really disclose. But it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. You know, I have been given custody of him. You know, he signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when you know he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me.
And just when you thought the vibes couldn't get more cursed, they did. In that same video, Diddy promised teenage Bieber access to his Lamborghini when he turned 16 and casually mentioned he'd hook him up with his mansion at 18. What? It was giving major if you know energy, and not in a good way. But then the convo took a downright unhinged turn. During their 48 hours together, Diddy asked Justin what he wanted to do, and without missing a beat, Bieber replied, "Let's just go get some girls." And Diddy, channeling peak creeper energy, looked at him and said, "The man after my heart. That's what I'm talking about, kid." Yeah, if that clip dropped today, the comment section would be absolutely cooked. TikTok would be on fire. The internet would be in a full-blown meltdown. It's giving red flags, raised eyebrows, and 1,000 think pieces. And now, people are finally starting to connect the dots. And the picture it paints is deeply unsettling.
What's up, man? You good?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, young brother, everything's good?
Everything's
Selling
great.
out arenas and everything?
Yeah,
Starting to act different, huh?
No,
you ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, you tried to get in contact with me, you know, through all my, partners and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But you never really got my number, so.
Right. Okay.
My number?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you my number.
Yeah.
Their collab era didn't stop there. All through 2010, Diddy and Bieber were still serving main character energy, especially in February when they linked up at the SOS, Saving Ourselves Help for Haiti benefit concert in Miami, joined by None other than Sean Kingston. It was giving public alliance unlocked. Then, in July 2010, Diddy made good on that low-key, creepy promise from the 2009 video. Because yes, Justin was spotted driving Diddy's Lamborghini. At the time, it screamed rich mentor vibes, but in hindsight, it's giving groomer energy and the internet is side-eyeing hard. By December 2010, they were still tight enough to film promo content for Diddy's album Last Train to Paris. But the vibe check? Way off. In one clip, Diddy handed Bieber a Bad Boy Entertainment Letterman jacket, a major clout token back then, and asked why they hadn't been hanging out. Bieber's response? Full of awkward energy. He said Diddy didn't have his number. Major, I'm trying to create distance without making it obvious vibes. If TikTok's body language experts got their hands on that footage today, they'd have a field day, but the most chronically online, red flag-laced moment came in February 2011, when Diddy and a freshly 16-year-old Bieber appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live together. Diddy was playing the protective big bro role, calling Justin his little brother and talking about how the industry is like a family looking out for young bibs. And then he dropped the line that's been echoing in our collective trauma ever since. He knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television. Yeah, that one. In 2024, that line alone would break Twitter, spark 1,000 reaction videos, and launch a 10-party podcast investigation with a Spotify exclusive deal. The red flags aren't just waving, they're on fire.
Got me a Lamborghini. And
Yeah. Oh, well, that's nice.
I haven't gotten it yet, though.
Yeah, I know. When is that coming, that Lamborghini? We talked about this last
He
time.
had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
The plot thickens. Justin Bieber, Diddy, and a timeline that hits different in 2025. The crossover episodes didn't stop after 2011. In February 2014, Bieber was spotted at Diddy's party in Atlanta, rubbing shoulders with Rick Ross and T.I. It was giving music industry alliance. But things started to turn even more sus when the celebrations continued into Bieber's 21st birthday era. That's when Diddy and Justin were filmed taking tequila shots together, with Diddy claiming it was Bieber's first shot ever. Yeah, major cap. Especially considering Bieber later admitted to starting substances way earlier. It was giving PR stunt, not real firsts. Fast forward to February 2016, and Diddy gifted Justin another Bad Boy Letterman jacket. Major flex for the gram, with Bieber stunting in the custom fit like he was still riding for the team. The collab vibes were still intact. Bieber even featured on Diddy's 2023 track Moments from the Love album, Off the Grid. He casually tagged Diddy on X, his last public nod to the mogul before the entire situation went up in flames. Then came the plot twist nobody saw coming. Diddy's downfall and the internet meltdown on. September 26, 2024, Diddy was arrested on charges that sent literal shockwaves through Stan Twitter and beyond. Suddenly, every interaction between him and Bieber was under a microscope. The infamous 48 Hours with Diddy video resurfaced faster than a canceled influencer's apology. TikTok detectives were in a frenzy. Twitter threads started connecting. Dots nobody wanted to see. The timeline split in two. Half of the internet was screaming, "Protect Justin," while others begged for receipts before jumping to conclusions. Chaos doesn't even cover it. Things hit peak delusion when a viral AI-generated song titled "Lost Myself at a Diddy Party" started circulating, falsely credited to Bieber. Lines like, "I was in it for a new Ferrari, but it cost me way more than my soul," had the internet spiraling. It was fake, but it fit the narrative so well the algorithm couldn't resist. And while this digital drama served peak engagement, Bieber himself stayed silent. Now 30 and in full dad era with his son Jack Blues Bieber, born August 2023, he's been giving straight-up radio silence. Sources close to Justin say he's disgusted by the allegations and wants nothing to do with it. Others say he's emotionally shut down, prioritizing family over feeding the algorithm. Either way, he's giving major self-preservation energy. Justice. For Justin and the bigger conversation. The fallout sparked a new movement under Justice for Justin, with fans and industry insiders calling for better protections for child stars. The entertainment industry's "let's exploit the talent and ask questions never" model was finally being called out. The Bieber-Diddy dynamic even sparked comparisons to Usher, who also lived with Diddy at age 13 and later spoke about seeing things at those parties. The parallels are unsettling, and conspiracy creators are thriving on the content. Still, without a direct statement from Bieber, it's all just speculation content. But the questions remain, and fans can't stop wondering, did Diddy play a bigger role in Bieber's mental health spiral than we ever realized? The making of baby bibs, childhood trauma, and industry pressure. To understand Bieber's story, we've got to rewind to where it all began. Born March 1st, 1994, in London, Ontario, Canada, Justin entered the chat already in a complicated situation. His teenage parents, Patty Millett and Jeremy Bieber, were barely legal and totally unprepared. They split shortly after his birth, and the daddy issues were immediate. Jeremy dipped out for a full year when Justin was just 4, only to reappear dramatically on Father's Day Classic. Meanwhile, Patty was battling her own trauma demons. In her 2012 memoir, Nowhere But Up, she opened up about surviving abuse, substance struggles, and a suicide attempt at 17. That kind of unhealed trauma always leaves a mark, and it definitely shaped Justin's early world. Raised mostly by his mom in low-income housing, baby Bibbs was living in survival mode. By age 12, his talent was obvious. Runner-up in a local singing comp, his performances uploaded to YouTube by Patty. Before content creator was a thing, Bieber was already going viral. Enter Scooter Braun. In 2007, he discovered Bieber online and fast-tracked him into the machine. Signed to RBMG Records, mentored by Usher, and releasing My World by 2009, Justin was no longer a kid. He was a global phenomenon. But fame hit fast, and it hit hard. Mental health, addiction, and the fight to heal in. A 2019 Instagram confession, Justin laid it bare. I went from a 13-year-old boy from a small town to being praised left and right by the world. Millions told him they loved him, but his brain, still developing, couldn't handle the overload. The love bombing, the pressure, the lack of privacy, it all broke him. He began self-medicating at 12 or 13. Weed turned into Xanax, then into a whole mix of MDMA, mushrooms, and pills. By 19, Bieber was in a full-on addiction spiral. His security. Team had to check his pulse at night. Let that sink in. In his YouTube docuseries Seasons, he opened up about the darkest days. Shame over hookups. Xanax to numb the pain, feeling like it would never get better. And then, he started to fight back. In 2020, Bieber visited Amen clinics for a brain scan, discovering his issues were neurological, not bipolar disorder as previously diagnosed. That reframe changed everything. His faith became his anchor. Baptized in 2014 by Pastor Carl Lentz before his scandal arc, Bieber embraced Christianity and started focusing on healing. He joined Church'em, leaned into therapy, and finally began building an identity outside of fame. Where we are now by 2025, Justin Bieber is no longer the wild teen lighting up headlines. He's a husband, a father, and a man choosing silence in the face of scandal. Whether he ever speaks on the Diddy saga or not, the internet has already made up its mind. Something about that whole situation wasn't right. And if Bieber ever drops a memoir, best believe we'll all be listening.
I just went deep into, I believed in Jesus, but I never really, when it says following Jesus is actually turning away from sin. And so there's no, what it talks about in the Bible, it's there's no obedience. There's no faith without obedience. So it's I had faith about I believe Jesus died on the cross for me, but I never really implemented it into my life. I never was I'm gonna be obedient. So I was I wasn't sleeping around.
The wifey era and the illusion of healing by 2018, Bieber was stepping into a new chapter, one he hoped would finally fix the brokenness. His whirlwind marriage to Hailey Baldwin was marketed as his redemption arc. The clean-cut Hillsong Blessed wifey era was in full effect. On the surface, healing; underneath, more unprocessed trauma wearing a wedding band. In a 2022 Apple Music interview, Bieber dropped a raw truth bomb. I hit a little bit of an emotional breakdown because I thought marriage was going to fix all my problems. And it didn't. That confession hit like a therapy TikTok warning. The fantasy of a ring curing years of emotional wounds? Big yikes energy. But it marked a turning point, his first real growth mindset moment, and a clear sign he was learning the hard way that healing can't be outsourced. Despite the breakdowns, Bieber still credits Hailey and his faith as the foundation that kept him stable. In his 2021 GQ cover story, he described this chapter as the best season of my life. I have a wife who I adore, who I feel comforted by. I feel safe. I feel like my relationship with God is wonderful. I have this outpouring of love that I want to be able to share with people. It was giving wholesome husband energy, but also showing just how far he'd come from the chaos of his teenage fame era. The glow-up arc was real, but not without its shadows. Still drowning, the ongoing mental health battle. Even with the marriage, the faith, and the fame, the inner demons never fully left. In April 2024, Justin posted a crying selfie, raw, unfiltered, and peak vulnerability content. It sparked concern and compassion from fans, but also confirmed what many already sensed. He was still struggling. By March 2025, things hit another low. In a post that shook Belieber Nation, Justin admitted, "I feel like I'm drowning, struggling to let hate go." He also confessed to feeling like a fraud, still battling anger issues and questioning his self-worth. It was the kind of brutal honesty that made his fans love him even more, but it also revealed just how fragile his healing still was. And now, with the Diddy allegations resurfacing and their disturbing past interactions under a fresh spotlight, Justin's mental health has become a top concern for insiders. Sources close to him say he's emotionally shut down, refusing to address the drama publicly, a move many see as a classic trauma response. The internet is asking what nobody wants to ask out loud. What role did Diddy really play in Bieber's breakdown? Diddy. From music mogul to crime drama protagonist, once the kingpin of the hip-hop universe, Sean Diddy Combs built an empire spanning music, fashion, liquor, and media. But in 2025, he's the main villain in a federal crime saga that's playing out like an HBO series, complete with mansions, lawsuits, and allegations that would make even the darkest Netflix doc blush. The dominoes started falling in November 2023, when ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura filed a bombshell lawsuit accusing Diddy of over a decade of abuse, coercion, and assault. Though it was settled within 24 hours, the message was clear. This was just the beginning. Then came the lawsuit tsunami, 63 more allegations, some dating all the way back to 1991. The floodgates had opened, and the federal government took notice. By early 2024, the feds launched a criminal investigation into Diddy's entire operation, and then came the real-life raidcore moment on March 25, 2024. Federal agents hit Diddy's homes in LA and Miami, executing search warrants that yielded shocking evidence: firearms, illegal substances, and over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lube. Items prosecutors later linked to alleged freak-offs or adult trafficking-style parties at the core of the case. It was crime doc aesthetics meets hip-hop royalty downfall, and the internet was in shambles. But the final nail came on May 19, 2024, when CNN leaked CCTV footage from 2016 showing Diddy violently assaulting Cassie in a hotel hallway. The grainy but graphic footage confirmed what her lawsuit had detailed: him grabbing, throwing, kicking, and dragging her. It was undeniable. Visual evidence. No more he said, she said, just truth on tape. Diddy tried the Classic Notes app. Apology. I take full responsibility and I'm disgusted by my actions. But the internet wasn't having it. The damage was done. His legacy, his empire, was already in delete mode.
My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy and go into rehab.
The Consequences era finally dropped, like a season finale twist on September 16, 2024, and the internet was not ready. Sean Diddy Combs went from hip-hop kingpin to indicted felon in a matter of hours. That day, the feds hit him with a trifecta indictment: racketeering conspiracy, trafficking for adult acts, transportation to engage in adult work. The next day, the official indictment tea spilled everywhere, accusing Diddy of running a full-blown criminal enterprise since at least 2008, complete with coerced sexual acts, forced labor, intimidation, and cover-ups. It wasn't just a takedown, it was a full-blown reputation wipeout. Then came the major L. On September 18, 2024, Diddy's bail request was denied, with the judge citing witness intimidation risk. And just like that, Diddy entered his jailbird era locked up at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center, where he's been rotting behind bars while the legal saga keeps leveling up. The charges multiply, indictment after indictment. The feds weren't done. The drama escalated hard with superseding indictments rolling out like a true crime series. January 30th, 2025. 2 new female victims added. Timeline expanded to 2004. March 6th, 2025. Forced labor charges enter the chat. Prosecutors claim Diddy controlled staff with threats. April 4th, 2025. 2 more counts involving trafficking and possible unaliving between 2021 to 2024 tied to a second victim. Despite the mounting avalanche of allegations, Diddy has been pleading not guilty at every arraignment, serving innocent until proven guilty energy. But it's not exactly convincing the public. His defense team pulled out the classic delay the trial playbook, but Judge Aaron Subramanian was not having it. On April 18, 2025, the court rejected their request for a 2-month postponement, essentially saying, "Nice try, but we're rolling." Then came a major plot twist. On April 25, 2025, the judge ruled that the 2016 Cassie Hotel assault footage, which had already gone viral, would be admissible as evidence. That alone guaranteed the jury would witness Diddy's alleged violence firsthand. And that wasn't all. That same day, tea spilled that Diddy had rejected a plea deal from prosecutors. While the deal's details remained sealed, it confirmed that Diddy was betting everything on a full defense, despite a mountain of receipts stacked against him. United States v. Combs, the trial of the decade. The trial, United States v. Combs, officially launched on May 5, 2025, with jury selection at the Daniel Patrick Moynihan U.S. Courthouse in Manhattan. Nearly 100 potential jurors were screened, with Diddy reportedly serving nervous courtroom energy during the process. On May 12, 2025, the final jury, 12 members and 6 alternates, was seated. That same day, opening statements began. And they did not disappoint. Prosecutors wasted no time painting Diddy as a cultural icon turned criminal mastermind, operating a hidden empire of kidnapping, bribery, arson, obstruction, drug-fueled, trafficking, freak-offs. They accused him of using his wealth and power to orchestrate a 20-year pattern of coercion, silencing victims, and hiding the truth behind bodyguards, PR teams, and settlements. They teased that video evidence would show disturbing footage of abuse involving Cassie and another victim identified only as Jane. Meanwhile, Diddy's defense squad came in hot with alternate reality vibes. Their narrative? This wasn't trafficking. This was a consensual swinger lifestyle. They admitted Diddy had jealousy issues, anger problems, a taste for kink, and heavy substance use, but denied any criminal intent. In a humanizing move, they insisted on using his legal name, Sean Combs, trying to remind the jury there was a person behind the persona. The receipts are bombshell level. The evidence list reads like a dystopian documentary. The 2016 Cassie assault video recordings from alleged freak-off parties, with claims of women so exhausted they needed IV drips, over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricants seized from his homes, and the witness lineup is stacked. Cassie Ventura is expected to take center stage with testimony on their toxic relationship and the hotel assault that went viral. 4 other alleged victims, including 2 from the most recent indictments, are slated to spill major tea about coercion, threats, and abuse. In a dramatic twist, one key female witness has reportedly gone MIA, creating high-stakes tension for prosecutors scrambling to build their airtight case. What this means for Justin Bieber. With the trial just beginning, fans and industry insiders are now asking the question nobody wants answered. Will Justin Bieber's name surface in the Diddy receipts? Given their documented history, fans fear Justin's early years in Diddy's orbit might hold uncomfortable truths. The alleged freak-off culture, the power dynamics, and the shadowy mentorship raise disturbing questions. As the government rolls out its evidence, many are bracing for a potential Bieber connection bombshell, not necessarily as a participant, but as someone who may have witnessed or been exposed to trauma-inducing environments under Diddy's wing. The trial is expected to last several weeks, and with life imprisonment on the table, this case is already being dubbed the music industry's Epstein moment.
Suzanne, remember the first time he came to the show?
Yes, he kicked John Anderson.
Yep, he kicked John.
He stepped right over him or something like that and kicked him.
He had the fame, the fortune, and the world at his feet. But behind the flashing lights and sold-out shows, Justin Bieber was allegedly building an empire on the backs of the very people who helped him rise. Now, a former crew member is breaking their silence, and what they're revealing is disturbing. The beginning of the believer's nightmare. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel where we spill all the tea that celebrities don't want you to know about. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell, because today's video is about to expose the dark side behind one of the biggest pop sensations of our generation. Today, we're diving deep into the allegations from an old crew member who's finally speaking out about how Justin Bieber supposedly exploited everyone around him. Now, before we get into all the juicy details, I need to give you a little background on Justin's rise to fame, because it's kind of important to understand how a regular Canadian kid with a YouTube channel turned into someone who allegedly treated their staff like they were disposable. So picture this. It's 2009 and 15-year-old Justin Bieber has just released his debut EP, My World. The world is going crazy for this kid with the swoopy hair who can sing and play instruments. Like we're talking full-on Bieber fever, something Gen Alpha could never understand. His first major tour, the My World Tour from 2010 to 2011, was when things allegedly started getting problematic. According to a Reddit comment from March 2023, people who worked with Justin during his My World Tour described him as the rudest child star. Yikes. That's not exactly the kind of reputation you want when you're basically still a child yourself. But here's where it gets interesting. The same source mentioned that after his Sorry era around 2015, Justin became down-to-earth and sweet. So what happened during those early years? That's what we're here to find out. Let's start by acknowledging that Justin was young when fame hit him. Like most of us were worrying about algebra homework while he was performing for thousands of screaming fans. The pressure must have been intense, and it's not surprising that it might have affected his behavior.
I did something that really hurt him. I did something very immature and stupid. It damaged the idea of me for you.
Yeah, I think so too.
She went out and did things that hurt me, and so it was just this hurt. She hurt me, and then before tour, we just really stopped talking. I was really upset.
But even if Justin has grown, the trail of wreckage left behind is something fans and former insiders can't ignore. The stories from that era are like puzzle pieces, individually vague, but when placed together, they paint a picture that's messy at best and damaging at worst. Let's break it down. Scooter Braun, the puppet master. When people talk about Justin's early behavior, a lot of the heat also lands on Scooter Braun, the music mogul who helped build Bieber's empire. But was Scooter the mentor or the machine behind the mayhem? In April 2025, a resurfaced Reddit thread accused Scooter of pushing Justin to the brink, allegedly forcing a grueling work schedule on a teenage star who barely had time to sleep, let alone emotionally regulate. One source even described it as performance slavery, claiming Justin was treated more like a product than a person. Scooter overbooked him, controlled his image, and created a pressure cooker environment, an alleged insider wrote. The kid was exhausted, and everyone around him paid the price. So if Scooter created the pressure and Justin had no tools to process it, did he start lashing out at those who couldn't fight back? His staff? It's giving trickle-down toxicity. A perfect storm, fame, trauma, and teen ego child stardom is often romanticized, but behind the glitz is something darker. As pointed out in Reddit's RCPTSD, many fans now see Bieber as another child star failed by the system. A kid turned into a brand, expected to perform endlessly while navigating the emotional chaos of adolescence. One post even called the early 2010s Bieber bashing era, where every move he made was scrutinized, mocked, or weaponized. It wasn't just pressure. It was public shaming on a global scale. And when you're dealing with that level of stress, professionalism becomes a luxury, not a guarantee. That doesn't excuse the behavior, but it does contextualize it. Of course, he was a brat sometimes, a sympathetic fan wrote. He was a kid with more money than God and more eyes on him than a politician during a scandal. But again, context is not a free pass. If this alleged crew member's claims are true, the behavior went far beyond spoiled teen tantrums. The crew member's claims, entitlement on tour. What exactly did this ex-crew member say? While the details are limited, and let's be real, probably NDA blocked, what's being said is disturbing. Staff allegedly described Justin as unapproachable unless you were important enough, demanding and volatile, prone to mood swings, dismissive of crew needs, reportedly ignoring protocols, schedules, and personal boundaries. One particularly messy comment claimed that backstage morale was at an all-time low, with one crew member quitting mid-tour due to Bieber's alleged behavior. Now we don't have video receipts yet, but paired with past reports of hotel trashing, fan spitting, and general chaos during that era, it's not hard to believe, especially when you consider that even Justin has admitted to being a terrible person during parts of his career. In his 2021 GQ interview, he said, "I had no sense of identity. I was doing things I was ashamed of. I hurt people." So if that confession includes staff treatment, it would definitely track. Redemption arc or PR rehab? These days, Justin seems more grounded. Married life, faith, and years of therapy have all become part of his healing narrative. But for the people who allegedly suffered during his chaotic ascent, the dancers, drivers, assistants, and crew, healing might not look like a YouTube apology or an emotional Instagram post. It might look like acknowledgement or an apology, or even just telling the truth about what went on behind the scenes. So while Justin's working on his redemption arc, it's worth asking, have all the people he affected had the same chance to heal? Or are their stories still stuck in the shadows of Bieber fever? What do you think? Was Justin just a victim of the fame machine, or was he part of the problem too? Sound off in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell for more no-filter celebrity breakdowns. We've got more tea brewing, and trust, you won't want to miss it.
And rather than, before that in my previous relationship, I went off and just went crazy and went wild, just was, being reckless. Yeah, I got better. And so she would reach out to people that would that we knew. And she would get you'd hear, right? You'd hear oh, he's doing so well. And she would be so pissed off because she's like, he's not doing well without me.
The broken machine. Behind the Bieber brand at the center of all this is a truth that's hard to ignore. Justin Bieber was a teenager inside a billion-dollar machine, and that machine wasn't designed to protect his humanity, or anyone else's. Let's talk about what difficult to work with actually means, especially in the entertainment industry. In some cases, it's diva energy, showing up late, refusing to follow directions, making outrageous demands. In others, it's far more serious, creating a hostile environment, verbally abusing staff, or emotionally disregarding the people who make the tour possible. Now, in Justin's case, the term rudest child star has floated around online, especially in that viral Reddit comment. But without detailed examples, we're left connecting the dots through his public behavior, the tantrums, the legal troubles, the general bad boy arc that defined his image in the early 2010s. Public meltdowns, private chaos, think about it. Between 2013 and 2014 alone, Justin got arrested for DUI and resisting arrest in Miami, was caught on camera egging his neighbor's house, faced an assault charge in Toronto, and constantly made headlines for reckless behavior, from spitting on fans to allegedly disrespecting flight attendants. And if that's what was happening in public, what was going down behind the scenes? Again, it's all speculative. But speculation becomes a lot more convincing when it echoes what former insiders and crew members have hinted at. Even Justin himself later admitted that this was one of the darkest periods of his life. In his 2021 GQ profile, he said, "I had all this success and was still feeling empty and low. I wasn't treating people the right way." Which brings us back to a crucial question: victim or villain, or something more complicated? Was Justin Bieber just a victim of his circumstances, a kid consumed by a toxic industry, bad management, and unresolved trauma? Or was he also responsible for how he treated the people around him, regardless of the pressure he was under? Let's go back to Scooter Braun for a second. Scooter is a known power player in the music industry. The same Scooter who clashed with Taylor Swift over her masters, the same Scooter who was later dropped by multiple A-list clients in 2023. So it's not shocking that allegations about his intense, maybe even exploitative management style have surfaced regarding Bieber. Reports suggest Scooter pushed Justin hard during those formative years, treating him more like a product than a person. And when that's your environment at 15, 16, 17, it makes sense that you might internalize that mindset and replicate it. Hurt people, hurt people. And in Justin's case, it seems like that pain got passed down. Where were the adults? And let's not forget the role of parental guidance, or lack thereof. Justin's mom, Patty Millette, was barely an adult herself when Justin was born. She's been open about her struggles with addiction and trauma, and while she clearly loved her son, she may not have had the tools or the support system to help him navigate sudden global fame. His father, Jeremy Bieber, was in and out of the picture, and when he was around, his influence wasn't always stabilizing. Remember the jet drag racing incident? Yeah, Dad was there. So what happens when a teenager is being managed by power-hungry execs, surrounded by yes men, and lacking consistent parental boundaries? You get a perfect storm. One where bad behavior festers, unchecked. One where staff suffer quietly. And one where the celebrity either collapses under the weight of it all, or starts to wake up. The redemption vibes are real. But, so are the scars the good news? There has been growth. That same Reddit thread which shaded Justin's early years also noted how much he changed after his sorry era around 2015-2016, and real receipts back that up. In 2022, a Billboard article revealed that Justin offered his tour crew free therapy, a huge sign of emotional maturity and awareness. That's not just a PR stunt, that's action, that's accountability. And maybe that's what makes this whole thing so complex, because both things can be true. Justin Bieber may have mistreated staff during his early tours. Justin Bieber may have been a victim of overwork, mismanagement, and emotional neglect. And Justin Bieber may now be working to heal, grow, and make things right. So what's the takeaway? Fame is a double-edged sword. And child stardom, that's the blade turned inward. Justin may no longer be the troubled teen at the center of every scandal, but the shadow of his past still lingers, especially for those who were on the receiving end of his early fame spiral. And the question remains, can someone truly grow if they never fully confront who they were? What do you think? Redemption or reputation rehab? Is Justin finally doing better or just doing damage control? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more raw, real, and relentlessly honest celebrity breakdowns.
I'm assuming that one day you're gonna be a dad, right?
Yep.
So picture this: we got either Justin Jr. sitting on your lap or little Justine sitting on your lap.
Yep.
When they say, "Dad, what was the best part about your teenage years?" What would you say?
I would say, best part of the teenage years. That shut off perfect timing.
I know, right?
That was like huge.
Deep.
It's on purpose.
Yeah, we're getting deep. Deep.
What was it?
Owning a Ferrari.
No, not that.
Going deeper than
The sickest part when I was probably my relationship with my ex-girlfriend.
That's deep.
That's deep.
That was on the list of things we're not allowed to talk about.
Yeah, well, we're not going to talk about it, but I'm just going to say that and we'll leave it there.
Yeah,
Good man.
Right.
Hey, truly appreciate your time hanging with us, brother.
Justin Bieber, everybody.
Fame, fire, and the fallout at. This point, we've gone beyond just one celebrity's alleged bad behavior. We're talking about a system, a machine, that took a 15-year-old Canadian kid with a dream and turned him into a global commodity. And while Justin Bieber may be the face of the story, he's not the only one who paid the price. Let's not forget what the early 2010s looked like. A new era of parasocial obsession fueled by Tumblr, Twitter, and YouTube, 24/7 paparazzi surveillance. And a fan base that practically treated Bieber like a deity, one who could do no wrong even when he did. It's no wonder things went off the rails. When you're being worshipped by millions, criticized by tabloids, micromanaged by industry execs, and battling anxiety, physical illness, and depression, all before turning 21, you're probably not showing up to work in a great mood. And if you're Justin, your work is a multi-million-dollar world tour. Your coworkers are the ones who build your stage, adjust your mic, and try to keep you grounded while the world tells you you're a god. The lesson isn't just about Justin. Whether or not you believe the crew members' allegations, this situation reveals something much bigger. The entertainment industry still struggles to balance profit with people. When young artists are pushed to their limits, emotionally, physically, and mentally, someone always ends up getting hurt. Sometimes it's the star, sometimes it's the staff. Often, it's both. But here's where it gets real. People can change. And in Justin's case, there's credible evidence to suggest he has. He's spoken openly about mental health. He's taken public accountability for past mistakes. He's made strides to support his crew and fans emotionally, like offering free therapy and acknowledging burnout. He's distanced himself from toxic influences, including, allegedly, Scooter Braunso. Was he a monster during his early years of fame? Or was he just a traumatized teenager lashing out in the only way he knew how? Final thoughts: the truth isn't clickbait. We're being honest, the truth probably doesn't fit neatly into a headline. Yes, there are allegations that Justin mistreated staff during his early tours. Yes, fan culture, mismanagement, and mental health issues likely played a role. And yes, there's also compelling evidence that he's made serious efforts to grow and heal. So before we rush to judgment, maybe we should ask ourselves, what happens when we stop seeing celebrities as people? What happens when young performers are exploited for fame, but held accountable like seasoned adults? And most importantly, what happens when we ignore the warning signs in the name of entertainment, a call for compassion and accountability? At the end of the day, this isn't just a story about Justin Bieber. It's a story about how we treat our stars, how they treat those around them, and what it takes to break the cycle. Let's keep having these conversations. Let's demand better from the entertainment industry. And let's hold people accountable, not just for who they were, but for who they choose to become. What do you think? Was Justin a product of a broken system, or just another star who let fame go to his head? Has he really changed, or is it all just rebranding? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell, so you never miss a deep dive into the truth behind the fame.
Does it rhyme with Melina?
Here's the thing.
Does it rhyme with Melina?
I just never know what women are thinking.
Uh-huh.
Because it's just like they say one thing and they mean another thing, and they're like, do this, and then, no, don't do this. And then I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
You know? Or they're like kissing you, and then they push you off of them, and then I'm like, but why? What's going on?
Yeah.
Now, redemption, reality, and responsibility. Now let's talk about redemption, because whether we're ready to admit it or not, that's a key part of Justin Bieber's story. Remember that Reddit comment we mentioned earlier? The one that called him the rudest child star? That same user went on to say that he became kind and grounded after his sorry era. And that says a lot, because in a world where it's easy to cancel someone for their worst moments, we rarely leave room to talk about growth. Real, difficult, uncomfortable growth. If Justin truly did mistreat people in his early years, but has since made efforts to improve, to be a better employer, and more importantly, a better human being, doesn't that count for something? Let's be clear. This isn't about excusing past behavior. This is about contextualizing it. It's about recognizing that the narrative of evil pop star exploiting everyone around him might be too simplistic to hold up under scrutiny. Sima di ma. Media's role in the chaos. We also can't ignore the part the media played in all this. The early 2010s were ruthless. Every late-night host had a Bieber joke. Every tabloid was waiting for him to slip. Anti-Bieber memes and hate tweets were practically their own genre online. And when you're a teenager being publicly ridiculed by adults, attacked by strangers, and still expected to smile through it on stage every night, it's no surprise if that pressure leaks out in unhealthy ways. Yet, despite all of this, what do we actually have in terms of credible allegations about Justin mistreating his staff? Not a lot. If Justin was truly consistently abusive or toxic throughout his career, we'd likely see more public complaints, lawsuits, or testimonials from insiders. But we don't. That doesn't mean the handful of stories that do exist aren't valid, but it suggests that if poor behavior happened, it was likely limited in scope, not some long-term pattern of exploitation. Growth isn't glamorous, but it's real at the end of the day. Justin Bieber's story doesn't fit neatly into one box. He wasn't just the golden boy or the villain. He was a teenager thrust into an industry that's eaten many alive. He made mistakes. He hurt people. But he's also tried, very publicly, to learn, to grow, and to make amends. And maybe that's the real takeaway here. Not that Justin Bieber was perfect. Not that he should be exonerated of everything. But that fame, pressure, trauma, and youth don't just create pop stars. They create deeply flawed humans navigating impossible circumstances. And when those people try to change, we owe it to them. And to ourselves to pay attention. So, Was Justin Bieber an exploitative boss? Honestly, based on the available evidence, it seems unlikely. What seems more likely is that he was a young person under intense pressure, managed by adults with conflicting priorities, struggling with mental health, and learning publicly what it means to be responsible. That doesn't erase anyone's pain or excuse anyone's behavior, but it gives us a fuller, more human picture, and that's something we desperately need more of in this industry. Final words. So what do you think? Was Justin just another child star caught in the machine? Has he really grown? Or is it all just PR? Can we truly separate past mistakes from present growth? Let's talk about it in the comments. And if you made it this far, first of all, you're a real one. Second, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss a deep dive into the wild world of fame, fallout, and forgiveness. Until next time, this is Gossip Galaxy signing off. Click on any of the cards showing on your screen right now, and I'll see you in the next one.